pattern for the last 2 years or so. Once these girls they say my fiance, it's a wrap on anything that you does is stupid, any kind of abuse, any.
And here I am. I couldn't find my other background. I had to switch computers for this show, and it's not on this one. It's not on this laptop. So look at this. I have a grand piano and a wraparound couch now. This is too funny. But just bear with me. It's not the background I usually like to use. I like something a little more colorful. But it is what it is, and we're gonna make it work. So today is. Oh, you like this one? Okay. Today is what we were supposed to do last weekend, and then I got work to do. You see, I'm still tired. I put in so many hours to get that thing done. It was just, and filed it at like 11:50 p.m. when it was due at midnight. It just, I'm gonna charge them extra too. Okay, let's look at this 25 questions we got today. This first one is from a young man, 28 to 34. He's African American from Virginia Beach, Virginia. The young lady in question is 22 to 27. Summary of issue. My girlfriend wants me to go to church with her every Sunday. Oh boy. Excuse me. My girlfriend is a staunch Christian and I'm agnostic. Okay, how did y'all get together? This is something we have discussed at the beginning of our relationship and before we moved in together. Oh, but she's a staunch Christian, but she's living in sin? Oh, this is interesting. Prior to moving in together, we had a long talk about it, and I let her know that I'd be fine going to church with her from time to time because I knew it was important to her and I wanted to support her with that. But a few months into living together, she comes to me crying about how she doesn't want to be that woman that goes to church by herself on Sunday. She wants our future kids to be raised Christian and for us to go to church together. I feel like that's put me in a very difficult situation. Am I supposed to lie to these kids about my beliefs? I would, prior to giving them, I would prefer, I think that's what he means, prefer to give them both sides and allow them to decide on their own. Is this something that we should be able to work through or come to some kind of compromise? I have a feeling that this will keep coming up throughout a relationship, especially as I give in more and more. I don't want her to get her hopes up about me turning to the Christian faith, and I've disclosed that to her. She tells me that I would be surprised with the power of prayer, end quote. I think I already know that what I'll end up having to do, but I'm hoping that you, as an agnostic yourself, dealt with people in a similar situation and can give me some sound advice. Well, the issue is the only way that something like this works is if both people respect each other's belief and don't try to infringe on on their freedom to think the way that they want to and believe the way that they want to. Obviously, that is not happening in your relationship anymore. She did that enough to get you, but now she's want to, try to switch up the game midstream. So what you're gonna have to do, dude, is, grow a pair and sit her down and say, look, I mean, I appreciate you want to call yourself a Christian and all that, but if you was really all that into it, your ass wouldn't have moved in with me and lived in sin with and screwing a man that you're not married to. So I really don't want to hear it. It's like such a hypocrite. I can't stand it. And so you need to say those words to her because she's like getting like caught up in this thing where she wants to put on a front and make appearances and all this stuff. I don't want to be that woman in church. Girl, please don't even trip about that. Whether you in church or not, you still, by the time you come home, you living up here and screwing somebody that you're not married to. Under that Bible that you like to talk about so much, you doing all kinds of wrong. So I don't want to hear it. Don't ask me about going to church no more. I'm not gonna go. I don't care. What you doing is some travesty bullshit putting on a front anyway. And so I don't even understand why you just stay home with me and watch football. something like that. I mean, I can see where you probably wouldn't want to be that crass and crude, but I'm telling you, it's gonna come to that because she gonna keep mashing you. That's the thing, with the guys that I dated, I was very clear with them up front. And you do whatever you want to on Sundays and your choir and all that stuff. Do not ever ask me to go to church because by the time I tried to set foot, the sucker would probably burst into flames or burn to the ground. So don't even waste your time. The one time I did go, I was staying with my brother out in Washington, D.C. He was so mad at me what I did. So it was a Christmas program. So a lot of people that are not one religion or another will go because, they're singing and the kids do a little play and, it's fun like a family event kind of thing. So I went to that part. And as soon as that shit was over and they want to start doing what they call a fellowshipping and all that, I said, give me the keys to the truck. And I went and sat in the truck. He's like, it's going to be cold. I'm like, I got blankets and stuff. I'll just wait for you guys. And that's what I did. He was so mad because he's like, all my church members was there and you embarrassed me and all this stuff. I said, but you knew well, before I even got out here on this plane, that I'm not about this scene. So when you try to, put this front up like, you got this big happy Christian family, that's on you. I can't help you with that. I'm gonna do me, and that I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and say a bunch of bless yous and Jesus and all this old stuff that people like to say to each other in church environments. I'm not gonna say it, and I don't fucking feel like hearing it. And he was so mad. He stayed mad at me for about 2 years about how I embarrassed him. But guess what? After that, about okay, so I guess that was one Christmas, another Christmas. So it was like 2 years later, they found out that the pastor that he was so busy following had run off with half the money from the church or all the money from the church and some other woman and abandoned his wife. I mean, he was trifling. I could tell he had that, that street nigga mentality when I met him. And I'm like, this clown ain't about nothing. But my brother, he's more, I don't know. I guess he's changing now, but this was quite a while ago. This was probably about 15 years, 16 years ago. And so he's a little bit different now, but at that time he was still very kind of naive about, people. Whereas I'm looking at him with all my hood rat in me, I say, this nigga right here, he ain't about shit. And I'm like, why are you giving him money and following him and letting him come to your house and stuff? Oh, well, he's our leader, this and that. I'm like, "Pfft, he wouldn't lead me out of a puddle. And sure enough, he found out I was right. And he was like, oh, guess what he did? I said, oh, I could see that was going to be coming. He's like, how could you know? I said, he just had that look. And I can't even explain it. He just had that street nigga energy. You know what I'm talking about? That pimp game thing going. I can't even really put my finger on it because he dressed nice and he was, clean cut as he said all the right things. But it was something about him, some vibe I picked up from dude, and I just was like, that didn't have nothing to do with him. So yeah, I was not in that little scene, and I left, and my brother was sad because he thought about all the money he lost. I'm like, well, lucky he was tax deductible. Let's move on. Question number two. Why am I so congested today? Question number two. Female, 35 to 41, from Coventry in the West Midlands in the UK. We get a lot of, well, not a lot, but we frequently get letters from there. Same issue. Did I just embarrass myself? I'm a legally separated 4-year-old mom with 2 children. I'm in a place where I really crave a meaningful relationship again. Get divorced first. I know the kids' school is not exactly the place where one goes to find someone because it's fair to assume that most parents are already with someone. Nonetheless, there's a dad at my kids' school who caught my attention, and I thought I caught his attention too. I kind of assumed or hoped he was separated as I am. We have a school app, and I could see there from his kids that he and the mom have different addresses registered, which further fed my hope that he is single. Last Thursday, I made intentional eye contact with him. I looked at him, he smiled and nodded, and I smiled back. After a few seconds, I turned my eyes to him again, and his look met mine again, and he acknowledged it again with a warm smile. I felt happy and thought there might be something there. Or maybe he was caught by surprise and was just being polite. Today, it was the mom who dropped the kids off at school and not him. She walked past me, her eyes met directly with mine, and my gut reaction was, she knows. I immediately felt bad, exposed, and so embarrassed. I am now confused and embarrassed. I have a history since my late teens of making what I think are small flirt attempts and later feeling like I've humiliated myself. Rationally, I know it could mean nothing. Maybe she just glanced at me in passing. Maybe she felt my high alert glance and therefore looked at me. But emotionally, it felt like confirmation that I embarrassed myself again. I'm not sure what to do the next time I bump into him at school. How should I handle the situation? You should just ignore, I mean, just be regular. I mean, it's not like the man asked you for your number or y'all went on a date or anything. So why are you tripping? And you don't know what the status is with this woman. I mean, they could be fully divorced and just co-parent. You don't know. They may have never even been married and just be a baby mama, baby daddy situation, and they not even together with their separate addresses. You don't really know anything. And they, and he could, even though it's not her, be dating somebody else who doesn't come to school to pick up his kids. There's so many possibilities here. And her looking, she may have just looked at you because women had an intuition that, oh, she likes him or she's his type or something like that, and she's gonna be checking you out just on the strength of that. Or maybe you were dressed really nice. Maybe she liked your haircut. Maybe you had on your makeup was cute that day. Maybe she liked your shoes. I mean, who knows? But for you to sit here and write a whole letter about all these things and be embarrassed about nothing is just kind of bizarre. You need to grow up. I can't believe you got two kids and been married and you this goofy. This is goofy. This is goofy behavior. I'm trying to be polite and saying goofy, but I mean it's the ass backwards and stupid as fuck. That's what I really mean. But I'm trying to be better about my language, at least on Fridays, because it's too close to Sunday. Question number 3, female, 28 to 34. She's Caucasian from Corpus Christi, Texas. The young man is 35 to 41, and he's Latino. Okay, so she's 20 to 34, he's 35 to 40. Okay. Summary issue. My husband asked if our son was his and asked me for a paternity test. My husband and I have been together for 10 years, married for 3. We are 36 him and 31 me, and we have 2 children that are 2 and a 7-month-old. Our oldest child, who's a girl, looks a lot like my husband, but our second child is a boy and looks more like me. But you can tell our kids are related as they have similar features. However, my husband recently dropped on me that it's been bothering him that our son has blue eyes. He has brown eyes, I have blue eyes, and how he thinks it's really unlikely for him to have a child with blue eyes, as he's Hispanic with no known relatives that have blue eyes. But has he looked in the mirror and seen you lately, though? Your husband sounds stupid. This is a problem when people are like not educated about genetics. They come up with these whack ass things like this. If anybody in your family had blue, green, gray eyes, the possibility of your child jumping back into a generation or two and having those is very high, very likely. That's why black folks who was passing at the time, like they could go to from the south to the north and pass as white, they didn't have kids. They made sure they didn't have no kids because of that factor, that unknown question mark about how you don't know how them genes is gonna pop out. And she might look like, somebody fresh off the slave boat thing, and you got, her and then the white daddy. You just never know. And so they tended to not have children for that very reason. That big question mark, what's gonna pop out, right? So they pass it for white, they can't have no kids. It was really interesting. I found that out. So for you, she says, oh, so he is also suspicious of the timing of our son's conception, as our second was a complete surprise, but we were only using C's after I had my first child. He then asked if our son was his and if I mind if he gets a paternity test done. I am so hurt and just blindsided by this. I haven't cheated on my husband. Our son is definitely his. I work from home. I don't have any guy friends. I only go out to hang out with friends or to a grocery shop or buy things for the kids. I just don't understand why he thinks I want to do this, as I've never been unfaithful. Has anyone else ever written to you about something like this? Yes. I mentioned marriage counseling to him, so we might try that, but I'm just so confused, sad, and hurt about it. We've been fighting off and on as it's been stressful having 2 kids so close together, but we otherwise don't have any huge problems in the relationship. What do you advise I do? Take your happy ass and that boy down to, and take the girl too. Get everybody paternity tested, and then throw that shit in his face and say, "You do one more ass back with shit like this, and we're through here, sir. This was your last. This was it. This was your only call." Now, the reason why a lot of women say, well, I would never do that, I disagree. I think if a man has any doubts at all about the paternity of his kids, and you know for a fact, now don't be like them chicks on Jerry Springer that be like acting, have 17 different dudes who could be the daddy. Don't, if you have any doubt, don't do that. But if you know you've only been with one man and that man is your husband, your long-term boyfriend, whatever, happen to say, oh, you want to paternity test? Sure, no problem. That's what you should have said. then you could have got it, and this whole episode, this chapter in your life would have been behind you. But you keeping all this stirred up and want to be all affected and clutching your pearls and act like it's a big deal. It's not a big deal. My grandfather used to say, "Mama's baby, daddy's maybe." That was a phrase from like the 30s or 20s or something. So, a lot of men might have some doubt. And I think as a woman, like if I were, like if I were younger and I had kids now, I would automatically get a paternity test. I wouldn't wait for him to ask me. That's going to serve two purposes. One is any claim that you might have to his estate, to like, even if you're not married, that your kid could hit their social security, all kind of stuff, right? Life insurance policy, all stuff. You have proof that that child, while he's alive, that that child is his. Also, it helps with it helps the child. You get the man's name on the birth certificate if you want it, and all that. Yeah, no share authority, like I know. And then the security guards got to step up there and stop people from fighting and stuff. Oh my God, it was just a train wreck. But if I were, a young woman and that was the situation I was in, I would not wait for him to ask for a paternity test. I would get one because that's my ammunition. See, guys don't even understand. It's like you act stupid, I'm gonna slap this shit of child support on your ass. You're gonna be paying out the yin yang because this is your baby. You can't deny it. It's already been established. You can't go to court at him and Hall and wait and make everybody wait while you try to figure out if it's kid and try to play tricks and games with the DNA and all this kind of stuff. You're not gonna do nothing. This is your kid, motherfucker. Pay up. That is the reason why. You can do like I said, if they die with no will or something, you slap that shit down, your child is an instant heir. So, I mean, really, ladies, you really should think like me. If you got a man and especially you ain't married to him, get your ass a paternity test and put that thing in a safe somewhere, with the boxes that they have at the bank, safe deposit box, and keep it because you never know when you're going to need it and when it's going to come in handy and when it's going to protect your child's interests. Yeah, because you ain't going to be denying my kid. That we're not going to do that. But yeah, I thought about that. It's like that's really to women's advantage. I don't know why people be like you all in your feelings about the shit. You being stupid. Go take your happy ass down there and get that paternity test. Like I said, and calm this shit down in your marriage. It's already bad enough you guys got them two stair step kids, but and get your ass on some birth control. This don't make any sense. Question number 4. This is a female, 22 to 27. She's mixed race from Santa Ana, California. The male in question is 20 to 34, and he's black. Also, of those of you who might want to, you want to submit a question so your question can be on this show in the future. I'll even stop lying and say it next week. It's not gonna happen because I don't even know when I'm gonna do the show. I just do it when I feel like it. So that's how you get. You go log on to debsterism.com, the same name as this channel, and get hyphen advice is the form, and the form will pop up, and then you just fill it out and press send. And hopefully Candace will like what you have to say and think it's general enough, that more people will be interested in it than just you, and then she'll put it in the column. Okay, there you go. Debsterism.com. Get hyphen advice. All right. Let's move on to question number 4. This is a young lady, 22 to 27, mixed race, Santa Ana, California. The male is 20 to 34, and he's black. So I have an issue. My boyfriend is against abortion except for assault cases, and it's giving me a pit in my stomach. How do I handle this difference? You dump his ass. That's what you do. Why is this even a question? I've been with my boyfriend for 5.5 years, and you're only 22 to 27? That's ridiculous. We agree on a lot of things, and overall, he's a really good partner. But recently, something's been weighing on me heavily, especially because we have started talking about having a baby in the next couple of years. Where's the wedding part at? You girls kill me with your backwards thinking. So I have become quite wary of the qualities and opinions he's expressing recently, as it matters to me very much. He believes abortion should be banned in all cases except when the pregnancy is a result of or some other kind of assault. I am pro choice, and for me, abortion access is about autonomy and fairness. Women must carry all of the physical and emotional weight of pregnancy, and in many cases, also end up with the full responsibility of raising a child. That's right. To me, there are so many valid reasons why someone might not want to go through with a pregnancy because of financial instability, health risks, not wanting children at all, contraception failure, even just not being ready. So when he says he doesn't believe abortion should be allowed in these situations, it honestly gives me this sinking pit in the stomach feeling. It makes me question our future together. Because to me, his opinion says a lot about how he views women, bodily autonomy, and responsibility. Oh, you are thinking very smart to be only 22 to 27. You go, girl. It's nerve wracking because I do love him and I don't want to throw away a relationship that's been good in so many ways. But this feels like a huge difference in values. I can't shake the thought that if I ever did get pregnant unexpectedly, he wouldn't support my choice, and that scares me. How do you suggest we navigate this relationship where a moral slash political belief exists? Is it a deal breaker? Is something like this enough to ruin a relationship, or is it something people can work through? No, there's no working through this. It's like because you're either pregnant or you're not. You either have a baby or you don't. You either get an abortion or you don't. So you see those are finite decisions. There's no gray area in those. There's no half abortion, half pregnant. You can't do that. You don't deliver half a baby. There's no middle ground here. You either on the side of getting termination, woman having the choice to get a termination when she wants one, or you on the other side. Now he's on the other side. If I were you, before I broke up with him though, what you need to do is sit him down and say, I would like to understand how you arrived at that decision. What makes you think as a man who would never get pregnant at all, and none of these things that, would affect a woman deciding to terminate a pregnancy would affect you. So I'm trying to figure out where is this absolute decision and opinion coming from. And you let him spout his ignorance. And then say, well, I disagree. I think if you can't get pregnant, you don't get to have a fucking opinion about it. And if I were to get pregnant, I would hop up on the abortion table and get that abortion so fast, it'll make your fucking head swim. That's what you need to tell him. You don't get to boss me at what I do with my uterus. Okay? Especially, aren't you in California? I forgot. Oh, you in Corpus Christi. No, no, that's the paternity test one. I'm sorry. Yeah, you in Santa Ana, California. Girl, yes, you can get a termination here if you want one. And I'm so happy they totally ignored what they was talking about in the feds. So that's what you tell a man like that. You don't get a vote. And if you don't want to have somebody get, you know, because they like to say, you killed my baby, damn fucking Skippy. So if you don't have, a man who understands that concept, you cannot force a woman to have a baby. But likely, if you get her pregnant and she wants to keep the baby, you still can't decide that because you should have kept your dick in your pants. That's your birth control. That's your ultimate decision making, and your whole power is to keep it in your pants. Once you start jigging it up inside fertile women, and that's how babies are made. Everybody knows that's from kindergarten, right? We all know that. So you do that and then you make a baby. Don't be acting all surprised. Like, how did that happen? You knew how it happened and you did it. You was fully there, was a willing and cooperative in the whole process, enjoyed yourself immensely for them 10 minutes. And then now you got a baby that's gonna be in your wallet for 18 years. Or if she doesn't want it, you don't, if she's nice, she might be like this one girl, she gave the baby to the baby daddy and she paid child support. And he had the nerve to be online complaining about her being a deadbeat, even though she paid more than what the court ordered. I think the court ordered, just say 350 and she was paying five. And he had the nerve to be online complaining. He got so reamed by everybody. But like you wanted that goddamn baby, but what he wanted was for her to trap her with it. And she was like, "Oh no, you want a baby? Let me give it to you. Here you go." And that's what she did. She was like, I'm not gonna visit. I'm not gonna caretake. I'm not gonna babysit. I'm not gonna do nothing. You wanted a baby? There you go. And I admired that. It's like, oh, if only more women did that, it would be so brilliant. Like all them states where they don't want you to have a abortion, give them babies to them goddamn daddy that voted for that shit and think it's so funny. So much fun to trap a woman with a baby. Oh, fuck no. You want this baby? Here you go. And all you who voted for that and thought that that was so great, grand, and wonderful, here's your kids. Make it work. And they were soon, when they got to see how it infringed on their lives and their fun and their wallets, they would soon just change that vote. They would change that law. But so many women are not, they're too afraid to do that. Oh, but it's my kid. It's his too. Why can't he take care of it? Like shit, fuck that. So yeah, just think what I'm saying. There's no middle ground. There's no compromise here. But talk to him about it first because he might not even really see it from your perspective. You tell him, listen, it is. You tell him yours, and basically, which is you don't get an opinion. And if I wanted abortion, I would get one. It would be shit you could do about it, and see what he has to say. I told a boyfriend that because he thought that, she was, I mean, we was talking, right? He didn't have any kids. And he's like, and just my daughter was younger, I don't know, she was probably about 12, 13. Now I call myself gonna be dating again. And so he's like, I don't have any kids. I'm like, okay, here we go. I already knew why would you even tell me that? I already know that. So I just looked at him. I said, okay, and he's like, well, what if, you got pregnant? I said, yeah, what do you mean, what if I got pregnant? He's like, well, what if you got pregnant? What would you do? I said, I'd be at that abortion clinic so fast, you wouldn't even know what happened. It'd be over and done with by the time you found out. He was livid. I cannot tell you. If you seen a dark-skinned black man turn, he got so mad, he turned like purple because it was like he was so angry, like all the blood was in his face. It was kind of scary to look at, but I was like, that's what would happen because I'm not having shit for you and nobody else. I'm not doing it. And so he was just like, I can't believe, because I said it's so cool. Like I was looking at a magazine while he was talking, right? I'm looking at a magazine like this, and I'm just, flipping through the pages. I didn't even look up, and I just said it, and he was so through. Oh, hold on a second. I got to say something to my daughter. Let me mute my mic right quick. Okay, I'm back. So yeah, let's move on. Question number 5. This young lady's 18 to 21. The male's 18 to 21, and they're from Mombasa, Kenya. Wow, I don't think I ever got a letter from there. If I do, I don't remember. Summary of issue. I broke up with my boyfriend after his reaction to me almost getting assaulted, and now I feel like I was petty for doing so. Last night I went out for dinner with my best friends and we had a few drinks. When I got home, I sat on the doorstep to get some air before going inside. I was sitting with my knees folded to my chest and my head resting on them. After a while, our tenant, he stays in the servants' quarters, came out to check on me. We're not close, but we've had a few casual conversations before. At first, it seemed normal, but then I realized I was tipsy and he started acting strange. He patted my head while talking to me, which made me uncomfortable. I pushed his hand away and told him to stop, so he did. But a few minutes later, he suddenly reached into his pants, pulled out his, and told me I should give him. Oh, I immediately sobered up, jumped up, and literally sprinted inside. Once in my room, I called my boyfriend and told him what had just happened. But before I could even finish, he interrupted me with, okay, this is something I don't know. It's something in Swahili. Mombona, something. I don't know. I don't, we're not even going to try to pronounce it. Swahili for why are you talking like you gave him, you know, jaw. I was stunned. His first reaction was to basically accuse me instead of protecting or comforting me. I felt so blamed for someone else's disgusting actions. It made me wonder if I or a child we had were ever actually SA'd, would he react the same way? Of course he would, because it's his gut reaction. When I asked him why he said that, he apologized and told me he didn't know why those words came out. He said he was angry at me for not calling him as soon as I got home. He has my location, but I can't shake how hurtful that initial reaction was. That was my breaking point. I told him I wanted to break up. Now I'm wondering if I was petty for ending things, or if I was right to trust my instincts. What is your opinion? Oh, I think you were right to trust your instincts because a man, they're going to say they don't know why they did it. Like, when you get caught doing something bad when you're a little kid and your parents ask you, why did you do that? I don't know. Of course you say you don't know because that's the easy out. You don't really have to tell them what your real motivation was because you knew it was the wrong thing to do when you was doing it, when you was planning to do it, when you were in the middle of executing it, and even after you did it, you knew it was the wrong thing to do. And you knew that you did it because you wanted to do it because it was exciting, it was fun, it was, whatever. And that's why you made that decision. But, who wants to admit that? So it's the same thing with a man in a situation like this saying, he doesn't know why he said it. He knows why he said it because that's how he thinks about you and probably any woman. So unless you want to be with a man who would, in a situation like you projected of a possibility and say you had a girl child and somebody did that to her, that would be his response too. That would be his response to you, some man being inappropriate with you like that. So I think you did the right thing. He's not in your corner. A man who cared about you would have been like on his way to dude's house to talk to him about how he acted and to tell him to, if you just at your parents' house, he's living in the service quarter, to talk to your parents about what he did and get him the fuck up out of there. That's what a dude would do if he really cared about you. What he would not do is blame you for it. So I think you did the right thing. What do you guys say? You guys put your opinion. Oh, I meant to put a Menti up so that you guys could vote, and I forgot to do it. Sorry. I'll do it for Sunday. Purple was your guess. Girl, he got so, I mean, dude was so out of pocket, bent out of shape. And I was like, fuck you and your raggedy ass baby. Ain't nobody trying to have shit. Question number 6. This is a female, 22 to 27. She's black from Cincinnati, Ohio. Summary of issue. I think I ruined my mom's engagement after her fiance blew up at me, and now I don't know what to do. A couple of days ago, something happened that I can't stop replaying in my head. My mom's fiance, both of them in their early 50s, completely lost control, and I can't shake the feeling that I ruined everything for her. We were in the car together, me, my mom, and this guy, just a 20-minute ride, when he started going on a rant about how gay people are abominations. I have very close friends who are gay. One of them is like a sister to me, and I've known her since kindergarten, and I couldn't just sit there and listen to him. I told him he was being a bigot. That's when everything spiraled. He exploded, screaming horrible, vulgar things at me and my mom. He drove recklessly and even said that if I called the cops, he would fight them or shoot them. Well, that would have definitely called him then. So he could be in prison for life. I've been a 911 dialing little motherfucker in the back seat. When we got back to the house, he started throwing things outside and in the house. I was terrified for both of our lives. I managed to record a few clips of what happened, but I can't even bring myself to watch them because it was so traumatic. The truth is, this isn't the first time he's acted like this. A few years ago at a family event, he got upset for no reason, stormed off, and disappeared. My mom eventually found him at their hotel, but later she came back to the event in tears, saying he had been throwing things, flipped the desk, and even stole her work phone before disappearing again. That incident left a horrible impression on my whole family. Since then, I've tried to forgive him and give him the benefit of the doubt, but deep down, I never saw much change. He has a history of drinking. My mom says he cut back, but I often saw him taking shots of tequila in the middle of the day. He's never held a steady job for long, bouncing between several, and when they moved in together, he mostly did house projects. There were also small moments of disrespect that stuck with me. Like after surgery, I had to remove precancerous cells. I was on a follow up video call with my doctor. He came into the room being extremely loud, and when he was politely asked to quiet down, he deliberately got louder and said, "This is who I am, and I won't change for anyone." Okay, this is long, but this story is kind of interesting. She's a good storyteller. In August, he proposed to my mom, and even though I had reservations, I pushed him aside because I wanted her to be happy. I helped with ideas and even reached out to a local musician to play at the ceremony. For a while, I tried to convince myself that it would be okay, but then the incident in the car happened and shattered any hope I had of trusting him. After that night, my mom called off the engagement. It was about fucking time. He told his family, my cousin and uncle know what happened, but the rest of the family doesn't. I thought maybe this was finally the end of it, but now my mom has started lashing out at me. She told me that this was her last chance at love, that she's giving up on relationships altogether, and that I ruined things because I never gave him a real chance or tried to understand his mental illness. Your mama is crazy. She's devastated, and I can see how much pain she is, but I don't know how to make this better. I feel awful because I want nothing more than for my mom to be happy, but I can't ever trust this man again. I don't want to see her hurt, even if she believes she can handle it. At the same time, I can't go back to pretending everything is fine when I know what he's capable of, and I fear she will still go back to him after all of this. Right now, I feel sad, guilty, and completely lost. I should mention that I live about 500 miles away. I was just visiting, and her and him share a home together. Deb, do I just let this go for her sake? Or do I stand firm on never trusting him again, even if that means not accepting their relationship? No, what your mother needs is a fucking reality check. So what the video clips that you took, you have a Facebook page or something that where all your family goes, upload that shit and say this is why the relationship between the what you call it, the engagement is off. This is the reason right here. It's not my fault. It's 100% his behavior that is behind it. And let everybody in your family know. One thing you don't want to do one thing you don't want to do in life in your family is keep secrets like this. And see, you sound like, you've been used to, these kind of abusive behaviors and stuff. And so to you, you're worried more focused on your mother's happiness than you are on the fact that your mother was getting disrespected, dogged out, cheated on her, stuff taken, and all the criminal, vicious things this man did to her. You're totally overlooking that. And so that's what makes me think, see, to you, that kind of behavior is somewhat normalized. So that's what makes me believe you have a history of having these kind of things happen in your life so much that it's not even shocking to you. This thing that happened in the car was shocking to you because that's new. But all the other stuff that would have, like, you taking my phone and shit like that, we're done here. You stealing my stuff. Even take a pair of earrings out of my house, we're done. You know, I and you gonna take a whole cell phone? Oh, no, 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 no. And breaking things and acting a fool like that? No, 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 no. We're not doing all that. So what you need right now, though, you put that online and tag all your relatives so that they can share it around so that everybody will know A, how stupid this dude is, and B, how dumb your mother is to accept it. See, and then she'll be so embarrassed to get back with him because she knows if she does, everybody in the family will know what a fool he is, and that will act as a deterrent to her because she would be too embarrassed and ashamed for people to know that she was that stupid. So that's what you need to do. You got to protect your mother from herself. But it sounds like you need somebody to protect you from yourself too, because y'all together is like a hot mess. Let's move on. Question 12. I mean 7. This young lady, 22 to 27, from London, England. She's black. The male's 22 to 27, and he is white. Okay. Summary of issue. Was I right to break up with my boyfriend after he called me a racial slur? You have to ask this question? Wow. I just don't even know. Yeah, Nikki Rocks, that's what I'm thinking. That oh, Giggle's looking at, oh wait, let me put Giggle talking about the dude who went berserko. Is Giggles onto something? Giggles with the profound comment of the day. You never know. You know what I mean? I think that too when people show too much of reaction to stuff, especially if he was in jail. He had a little taste. I just don't these dudes talking about, well, I was in prison for all these years. I'm like, and how many things did you get? Oh, I just stop fucking lying. You've been in jail for 20 years and stuff like that. I mean, I can see it if you was in the county jail for 6 or 8 months or something. But you've been like in the state pen for 20 years, 15 years and stuff like that. I'm not gonna believe that, especially if you went and you was real young. You probably it happened without against your permission, but it still happened. So let's not even pretend like that. These dudes, I remember. Okay, like side story. I was watching. This is when I used to still have cable, so you know how long ago this was. And remember, I told you guys how when people, their kids get all these scholarships and stuff, and they're in those poor areas. Every summer, there's some murders of other of these kids by other people in their community that are jealous. It's not family, it's always somebody in the community that's jealous that your son got a basketball scholarship, a football scholarship, a music scholarship, an academic scholarship. They're jealous of the success that your child, the trajectory that your child's going to take. So I keep telling parents, if your kid is like that, don't put them in the newspapers and don't tell nobody. Just send your kid off to college and to be quiet. Don't tell nobody outside your house. Nobody needs to know that he got a full ride and all this kind of stuff. He got all these. Don't tell people because it's going to lead to it puts your child at risk. So anyway, in this situation, this was a situation. I believe it. This kid, this little boy, killed him, right? And they showed the little boy on TV. And this little kid he was about 17, getting tried as an adult, and he had like, I mean, he was cute. He had like the perfect skin, the perfect teeth. He had his hair, little curls and stuff. He was cute. And I'm like, it's over for you. As soon as you get in San Quentin, they ain't gonna be all of it because he already looked girly. You know what I mean? He just looked girly. He had, the little earrings and stuff like that. He already had the girly look, and then he was only 17 and skinny, so he can't fight. I mean, fighting with them dudes to be working out like in the gym for like days at a time. It was over for him. And this was years ago. I'm sure he's still in there because you just gonna kill somebody in cold blood like that. The kid, I mean, was completely innocent. He was just jealous. And so that cost him his life and his butt. So I don't know what to say, but anyway, let me get back to this. So she talking about her boyfriend, her white boyfriend, and called her a racial slur. She says, Dad, please bear with me. Though I live in the UK now, English isn't my first language, so sometimes I mispronounce words. Recently, we were having a conversation about politics and different minorities. He was on the opposing side of what I was saying, and while it wasn't an argument, I guess he just wasn't liking my perspective. In the middle of that, I mispronounced a word, and he responded by calling me a racial slur. The way he said it came off smug, almost like he thought it was clever. Wow, I wonder what he said. The second it came out, I asked him what he called me. He went silent and hung up, and I hung up the phone. Later, he apologized and said he was stressed and not in the right headspace. For context, it was fight week for him, so he had been cutting a lot of weight, barely eating, and only drinking water. He admitted that had a major effect on his brain. I don't give a fuck. It don't have an effect on your goddamn mouth. But early in our relationship, we had already talked about boundaries, and I made it clear slurs were a hard line for me. So I broke up with him. He's heartbroken good and telling me that he wishes I'd talked to him first before coming to my decision of breaking up with him. Did I overreact by ending things after that one incident, do you think? Even though he apologized and was clearly under stress, or do I say as you say and not tolerate disrespect for love? You do as I say. You think I'm going to change because he apologized? They always apologize. They always instantly sorry because what they want you to do is start to cry and accept it. Instead, you say, "Oh, fuck you," and you broke up with him. So he was shocked. You took action. Unlike most girls that just sit there and cry and, want to write and say, "Oh, how can we make this work?" and all that old dumb shit. You say, "Oh, hell to the no. I am done with you," especially since you had already told him that before. Right. See, look, I got to put this. Look, see, Nikki say it ain't that much stress in the world, and it's true. Where you gonna be coming at your spouse talking about their race, their ethnicity, even like their religion or something like that. You cannot do those kind of things. If you do that, especially you white people, you do that to your person, your minority partner, somebody you supposed to love and respect, that relationship is fucking over because you have just played your redneck card, okay? And when you do that kind of shit, nobody's gonna love and respect you anymore. You got to learn to shut up sometimes. And as men too, when you want to talk about women, I mean, I'm talking about in general, not a racial part, but just, gender things. When they talk about, well, women can't drive and women can't do this. See, that kind of shit will keep you single. Because any woman who's self-respecting is not going to want to be fucking with you. Because you don't know how to act, you don't know how to talk, and you don't show you don't show that you respect your woman. You appreciate women. You don't disrespect them. They're not supposed to be like you. That's why they're girls. Okay? Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Nikki. They wouldn't dream of it. It's like and want to fight somebody else who says it. Who's even thinking that they want to just go to blows. So for this guy to just feel so free to say that and be all smug about it and stuff until he got cut loose shows that he's not the right kind of dude. And it's not like I'm against interracial relationships because I'm telling you, if I could find me a fine Asian man, I'd be like all hooked up and you guys would never see me again. But it just didn't happen that way. I had opportunity, I just messed it up. But I'm not against interracial relationships. What I am is against disrespect in any shape, any form. I don't care what race or ethnicity or gender you are. I don't care. You don't disrespect your partner, and if that's how you think you need to talk to them or treat them, then fuck you very much, and you deserve to be by yourself for the rest of your life. Yes, giggles. Because I be looking online, I'm like on YouTube and TikTok. Them little boys be cute. They too young. I feel like a, what you call it, cradle robber. Because they like, in their 20s and 30s and stuff. I'm like, oh, but he's so cute. Oh, if only I was 20 years younger, I would be all over that. But yeah, this is terrible. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. Let's move on. Yeah, I've graduated. I now watch Japanese ones, Korean ones, Thai ones. What else have I been watching? I think I didn't really like the Filipino ones too much. I just couldn't get into the thing. But yeah. The K dramas, the C dramas. I tell you what, though, one thing I noticed about the C dramas, I started one day I was watching some. I watched like three, and I started tracking how many times people got slapped. Have you guys noticed that? If you watch C dramas, they'd be slapping the hell out, they slapping the hell out of each other. It's like everybody want to slap somebody. It's too funny. And not the water splash, kind of what they call a water slap. I mean a full-on kapow across the face. And in one show, I counted 42 slaps. I was like, these folks just went crazy. In New Jack City, oh, I don't remember him. I'll have to watch it now. But my crush is be on real life men. International Q Town. Oh, yeah, I haven't been in San Francisco in so long. I used to go to Japantown all the time because I lived over in that part of town in the west, what they call the Western Addition. So it's like one quick bus ride on the 22 film mo. Huh. Okay, let me see here. Let's move on. I'm on my side stories. Y'all got me all distracted. Talking about my K dramas and C dramas. Question number 8. This is a male, 22 to 27, from Swansea, Wales. The female is 28 to 34. Oh, so she's older. Same issue. My girlfriend told my dark secret to her mom, and I still feel bad about it. I'm 27 and my girlfriend is 33, in case that matters. Recently, I told my girlfriend about some of my childhood trauma secret, which I rarely talk to anyone besides my 3 best friends and 2 exes of mine, not the recent ones. So basically, we were chatting, and she started mentioning that she and her mom were discussing some of the things I told her in confidence, which led to me pointing out that she was supposed to say that and that I need to trust her with stuff I'd say in the future, which I think is primordial. Good to mention that I never told her not to tell anyone, but I trust that she knew that and understood that it's not something to share. If it's a friend or someone, I'd like to make sure I tell the person not to mention it. I shook it off right after and we had a laugh later, but today I feel even worse about it. I want to know if you think it's normal and should make me feel like shit. I love the girl. I know no one's perfect. I'm not, far from it, actually, but I take those values seriously, not sure what to do. You break up with her. I'm going to tell you this kind of thing here. Whether someone tells you, when someone tells you something that's that traumatic for them, whether they tell you not to tell anybody or not, what you're supposed to do is ask them, do you want me to keep this confidential? Or, I have someone I think that might have some good insight. Do you mind if I share this story with them and get their opinion? You ask people. You don't just go blabbing their business like that. That is the utmost in disrespect and betrayal. Now, sir, I don't know how you see it, but if I had a partner who did some shit like that, I'd be done with him. Because okay, now this is y'all just starting, and she already run into her mama telling her stuff that's personal to you. That if you wanted her mother to know, you would have told her mother herself. Yourself. That's how I do when people tell me stuff in confidence, and people say, "Well, what did so and so say?" I said, "Well, if they want you to know, they'll tell you." I don't never tell nothing. I don't say it. I'm like, when people tell me something, it's like it goes into a steel vault. Because it's like it's not anybody else's business. It was their business that they share with me. It's not my business to share with other people. You see where I'm going with that? So that's my own value system there, and I don't do that. It's not. It doesn't make any sense to me. So you have to think about that. As you go through life and relationships, there are gonna be things that come up. There might be health issues. There might be financial things. There might be things about your family, like say somebody did a crime and went to prison or something, got in jail or something like that. I mean, those are the things that your partner you might tell your partner. But does that mean you want your partner to go and tell all everybody in their family, all their friends and their coworkers and everything? No. And so, there has to be some respect and boundaries to every relationship. If you have a partner that does not maintain those and doesn't see that they're not aligned with you, then you don't need to be in that relationship. You two got to be on the same page with stuff like that. In Flushing, New York. Oh, do I need to go there? I need to make a trip. Girl, yes, the 22, that was a bus. And if you was not in the back of the bus where the action was, then you just was corny. Got to be in the back of the bus. That's where all the fun stuff happened. Wow, this is really unfortunate. I'm sorry that happened to you. I know that's Very disconcerting. Question number 9. This is a male in the 20 to 34 age group from Charleston, South Carolina. Summary of issue. This woman just asked if we could take it slow, and I told her it's fine, but with a caveat. Am I unreasonable? So I've been seeing this woman for about 4 dates. Things have been going well. Now she did tell me that she wanted to take things slow, and I asked her what that meant exactly. She said she takes relationships slow and doesn't want to jump into one too fast. She also said this meant that she wants to take it slow physically as well. I told her I'm fine with that, but with one caveat. I told her if she's planning on sleeping with other men, then we should go our separate ways. This pissed her off. She told me that isn't any of my business. Safe to say that this is over. Am I unreasonable here? Yeah, you very much so. So you don't have the right to dictate what somebody does with their coochie. It's not yours to dictate, sir. You have the freedom as a single man to do whatever you want to do. She has the equal right to do whatever she wants to do with whomever she wants to do it because you two are not a couple. You're not committed in any way. She ain't your woman. You're not your fiance, not your wife. Okay? So what she does with her body is her business. So yeah, you was all the way out of pocket on that move. You know what I mean? Yes, girl. That's what I'm saying. All kind of stuff. Getting all kind of numbers. Finding out where the party's at for the weekend. All kind of stuff. The 22 was the shit back in the day. I don't know what it's like now. I haven't written it in probably 20 years. But yeah, she want to take it slow. Usually in a situation like that, you done taken her out 4 times and now she wants to take it slow. That means she just wants you to keep dating or spending money on her, but she don't want to, advance things to give you what you want, which is, more commitment and relationship and some nookie. That's what that means. Because otherwise, a woman would say that up front. And she would be a lot more cautious. Like if you treated one time, then she would treat the next time to make sure that everything stays on a level, friendly tip kind of basis. She would not have you thinking that you building something with her, and then she gonna pop out with that on the fourth date. Now she on some bullshit. Yeah, that San Francisco the 22 film mo. That was the shit. I don't know. I think you, like I say, you were unreasonable, but no, it's not like you was, in no grand theft relationship with her or anything. But rein in your expectations and your rules. You don't have no right to tell nobody nothing like that. Question number 10. This is a female, 35 to 41. She's black from Savannah, Georgia. Summary of issue. I ended the date after 30 minutes because he called me a prude. What? These people, what is wrong with people these days? So we have been texting and we both texted that we see ourselves as cuddly and romantic, etc. I love to cuddle with the person that I like. That's inappropriate conversation for a cuddle. I mean for a text buddy. I done tried to tell y'all there's certain kind of conversations that you just should not be having with men that you're not dealing with like that. Okay, you don't need to talk about cuddling and being all close and intimate with some dude that you texting with like that. Totally inappropriate. So whatever's getting ready to happen, you set yourself up for it. I'm not saying it's your fault, but I'm saying you definitely contributed to it happening. Okay, because you sent the wrong message. So let's see what else you did. So today we had our first date. So see, all this is happening before they even meet. Surely before we meet, I text him that I don't hug when I first meet a guy and that I will shake his hand because I'm more comfortable with that. I'm not even doing that. Don't touch me. So when I meet him, I can sense a little attitude, but I try to be positive. I talk a lot and laugh, and it feels like the date went well. We ordered a sandwich each, and he backs away from the register so he doesn't have to pay for mine. Wow, that's okay. It was a little embarrassing though. Anyway, the first thing he tells me is that he is surprised I call myself a cuddly person since I didn't want to hug him. He wonders if I have dated many men before. Says I'm a reserved person, that it's the first time a woman doesn't want to hug him on a first date. Then he called me a prude. That made me upset, and he tried to convince me that prude is not a negative word, but I feel it's a negative word because I have negative experience from that word. I got so annoyed that I showed him the definition of prude in the dictionary. He still didn't agree that it's an insult. I then ended the date. Dad, what do you think about this weird date? I'm on my way home now, and I'm a little shocked. We are both in our late 30s, so he is too fucking old to be acting like this. But see, this is what I'm saying. You are too old to be talking that shit about cuddling. You never talk about anything that would allude to physical closeness, intimacy, clothes being off, half off, kissing, hugging. None of that stuff do you talk about with any man unless you are really ready to deal with him on that level. So you fucked up. Okay, you fucked up. So of course he gonna get you. You were sending a message like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be all over you because I just want somebody to cuddle and hug up on." And so that was what it was in his mind because that's the message that you sent by all those texts. And then you want to act like, well, that's not what I do. I'm different. I just want to shake your hand. So of course he was upset. You fucked this up big time to be as old as you are. This you should already know this now you talk to me in. Okay? I'm just shocked. I know. Oh, the 15, the 3rd Street bus. Oh, girl, I didn't mess with that bus. That was a little too hood for Deborah. I had to take it a couple of times, and I was scared. I was like, I need to stay in the western part of the city. I can't go out there to the deep, dark hood rat part. Mm-mm. They was doing the absolute most out there. Yeah, we're late 30s, not even mid or early 30s, late 30s. Yeah, you did right to leave, and definitely that was an insult. What he was wanting you to do by calling you approved was say, I'm not approved, and then change your mind about hugging him so he could feel your tatas mashing on his chest and get a chance to rub on your booty and stuff. These men aren't slick. I had to teach my daughter about that too, because she said some little boys, like she was, I think, maybe 10th grade, young, she didn't know what's going on yet. And she's walking home from school with her 2 little friends. And at that age, they starting to get, bodies are changing and stuff like that. But you know, they still kids in the mind. So these little white boys walk up to them and ask them, it was her 2 friends, asked them for a hug, and like idiots, they did it. And I'm like, okay. So I had to give her the lecture of life about that. It's like you don't let nobody that you don't know get close enough to you to touch you like that. Because just like they had their arms around you, hugging you, they could have proceeded to grab you and fling you into a car. Then what? That she's her eyes get because she don't think like me. She's like, oh mom, you're such an alarmist. But then you look in the newspapers and stuff, you see all that stuff. These little girls disappearing right and left. The little boys too. So oh, by the Greyhound station. Oh, I don't know. I would took the bus that was going out to Hunters Point, Double Rock, and out there. That's the direction I would go. And I could not. After as soon as I started driving, I would drive my car. But yeah. So I had to tell her, and just be blunt, tell her that what they was after. They just want to feel on, to feel on your body like that, and don't ever let men touch you like that. Don't ever do that again. So she called her little friends to tell them, and they were all like, "Oh my God, really? Really?" Yeah, girl. Even my brother, who was like Thug Junior, he didn't want to fuck around with them folks out there in Double Rock too much. A little bit, but not. Yeah, exactly. That's what they were doing. And these are teenage boys, so you already know what that was about. I'm like, wow. I was really mad. It's like, okay, I call myself really telling my daughter all the scoop, but who would think of that? You know, I mean, I told her to keep, don't be letting people touch on you, but I guess in her mind, these are kids, and I forgot what the reason why she said they said they needed a hug, and they called themselves, being nice. I told her, don't you ever be nice to nobody. Don't be nice to people. Question number 11. This is a male, 22 to 27, from Thornton, Colorado. Summary of issue. My girlfriend wants all of my free time for herself. Is this normal? I've been dating my girlfriend for about 6 months. She's 24, I'm 27. She's a student with a lot more free time than me since I work full time. Most of the time, she's not busy with anything, not even studying. Things are going well overall, but the main issue is that she doesn't give me space, allow me any me time. According to her, being in a relationship means I should give her all of my free time. I'm introverted and phone/video calls drain me. Still, I've been going above and beyond, talking to her for hours every day. Whenever I tell her, let's talk later, I want to watch a movie or I just need some time to myself, she gets offended and accuses me of not loving her. The only time she's okay with me not being available is when I'm working, cooking, or doing chores. I really like her and I know she loves me, but I can't tolerate constant calls or spending hours on the phone every day. I don't know if I'm being an ass or if it's just if it's reasonable for me to want some time to myself for hobbies or just relaxing. Any advice would be appreciated. Well, see, this is you because this is why I said you can't start a relationship by changing who and what you are. You have to go into it being yourself. And what you did, I mean, I know a lot of people just, they want to try and they want to make a good impression. So you went above and beyond by talking to her every step. You set a different tone for the relationship. She's expecting that to continue because that is how you set things up. You set that dynamic in motion. That was a mistake. So and when you first met her, you were supposed to say, look, I'm a quiet kind of introverted person. I'll talk to you, for maybe 30 minutes, but I'm not going to be on the phone with you for hours and hours every day. I'm not going to do that. And I need a lot of time to myself, and I'm not going to be with you all the time. We can meet 2 or 3 times a week or something like that. I mean, you should have set out the parameters so she would know what to expect. But you didn't. You let she built up all these expectations based on how you started the relationship. Now you want to pull back because you realize it's too much, but now it's going to be a problem because she's going to feel like you did a bait and switch, which you did really. So what I suggest that you do is say, look, you're going to have to tell her, look, I'm exhausted. This relationship is exhausting me. I need time to myself. I need time to do what I need to do to recharge my own batteries. I cannot give you all of my free time. I'm going to give you this much a day. I'll see you this many days a week for this long. If that doesn't work for you, then we probably have to break up because I can't continue this. This pace is killing me. And you need to be honest with her. Say, I probably shouldn't have done that. I was giving you too much time at the beginning and you got used to it. But I can't sustain this. And so we need to change this right now, starting now. And then that's what you do. Okay? It's not unreasonable at all. So I think the unreasonable part was how you came in the gate with no boundaries, and so that was a mistake. Question number 12, out of 25 questions, for those of you who like to keep up with the number of questions. Oh, Valencia guards. Oh yeah, anything ending in guards. Yeah, we had a cousin who lived there for a minute. My mother took us over there to visit them exactly one time. And after we got off the elevator, and it's like chicken bones and old in the elevator and all in the hallways, and I was like, oh hell to the no. So we didn't, um, we never went back. She moved not too long after, but she was having a hard time, and so I guess that was the only housing she could afford for a minute. So let's move on. Question number 12, male 22 to 27, Springfield, Massachusetts. Summer issue. Why are people okay with dating people because of looks? What other reason is there? Money, I guess that's what another reason. Some people who are predators will date you because you got kids that they like. Some people date you because you are, I hate to use the term easy, but they know you're desperate and easy to get nook nook or whatever else out of, a place to live, some money, some herbalicious, whatever it is that you got to give up. They know that it's going to be easy to get that from you. So that's one thing. Okay. Let's see. So he's mad because he says people are okay with dating somebody because of looks. He must be ugly. It seems to be the driving force behind dating, and I've had a number of moments where a girl might like me because of looks, even though I don't look that great to begin with, and they'll just stand there or sit closer to me as if I'm supposed to go up to them and ask them out just because they have a beautiful face, and that's it. It's one of the most shallow slash basic concepts I've ever heard of in my life, yet so many people seem to be just fine with it. A lot of people wouldn't even be in a relationship if they didn't have their pretty looks. I once asked a question about this on Facebook, and from about 200 to 300 replies, the people said that they were regarded as conventionally pretty got asked out a lot, compared to the opposite, which said rarely, either rarely or never. Oh, well, let me massage this around. Um, shut up, Ash. You asking the wrong person. I guess they be in the elevator eating. There's no garbage cans. They just fling it to the ground. I honestly don't know. Maybe they're taking it down to the garbage and it fell out. Who knows? But yeah, they was like chicken bone happy. Oh, oh, I just couldn't take it. I was like, this is ridiculous. Okay, so let me get back to what I'm talking about here. So he's mad because he thinks women who think they're pretty and sit by him and want them to ask him out. Well, sir, let me just put it like this. When you first meet somebody or you first see somebody and you express an interest in them, what do you know about that person other than what they look like? Whether it's on a swipey thing, a app on the, the dating site or something, somebody in a chat room that you send a DM to or something and ask for pics. I mean, what in the world is it that you think is the basic intro to someone generating an interest in you? It is physical attraction. You're being stupid here. I don't even know if you're like being intentionally obtuse or you just mad because you think pretty girls have some kind of privilege, which I guess they do. But the bottom line is you either get with the program or just stay single. If you don't want to date somebody who's pretty and you want something deeper, you see a woman that looks interesting to you. She might not be conventionally pretty, but she looks interesting, or you met her through a hobby club or something, and she expresses talents or something. You like the way she laughs or whatever. Then you go up to her and you say, "All right," you introduce yourself. Hey, my name is, Sammy. What's his face? And I just love the way that you laugh. Can I get your number? Because I would like to figure out how we could laugh together. Mhm. So I don't know, some corny shit, but something like that. But really, I mean, you think about it. Whether the girl's in your class, you work with her, you see her on the bus, on the street, in the shopping mall, in the nightclub, you don't know anything about that woman other than what she looks like. So I'm trying to figure out what in the world is it that you are complaining about. That's why I said you must be ugly, and you just mad. Yeah, he just mad. He just mad. And yes, some pretty girls who get asked out a lot because men are sexually attracted to them. I mean, this is not rocket science. I don't understand what the problem is here. Little ugly troll ass fucker. That's what the problem is with you. You ugly and don't nobody want to go out with you. So you mad. You want one of them fine pretty girls and they ain't paying you the time of day. Question number 13. This is a female, 22 to 27. She's Asian from Escondido, California. The male is 28 to 34 and he's white. Time of issue. My boyfriend of 1 year makes gagging noises whenever I eat foods he doesn't like. Wait, what? Wait, how old is this dude? 28 to 34? Oh my God, he's acting like that? How can we work through this? You don't work through something like this. That's disrespect. So, I mean, okay, my boyfriend has many food aversions, one of them being fish in any form. I knew about this early on and it never bothered me. I don't force him to eat anything he doesn't like, and I don't express any judgment about any of his aversions. On the other hand, I'm the total opposite. I'm always willing to try anything at least once. The issue lately is with seafood. My cultural background, seafood is a huge part of our cuisine. Since we started dating and to respect my boyfriend's preferences, I don't make seafood at home and I rarely order it when we go out. But recently we went out with some friends to this awesome sushi place, and I was telling him about how good it was and how I miss eating sushi. He will do this fake gag noise whenever I mention a food he doesn't like, and at first it didn't really bother me, but now it feels childish. So he's going like, ugh, like that kind of fake gag. Anyways, the situation that I'm writing in about, my boyfriend made a surprise reservation for us at this really nice sushi restaurant. I asked him if he's sure he wants to go, considering that he doesn't like fish. He said it was fine with him. He wants to make me happy because I talked about how much I miss going to places like this, and that he'd looked at the menu beforehand and there were non-seafood options for him that he could order. I made sure to ask if it was okay if I ordered seafood, and he said he didn't have a problem with it. We get there and we order. The waiter brings out my food, and obviously there's raw fish. I go to start eating, and he starts making an annoying fake gagging sound. I asked if he could just stop because he knew I was going to order seafood. He just says he doesn't like seafood but doesn't mind if I eat it. I said again I don't like when he makes those noises, and he, for some reason, won't understand why it bothers me. Every time I try to explain myself, he just says that he doesn't mind if I eat foods that he doesn't like, but would then always make this gagging noise to express his dislike. It's starting to feel extremely childish. It feels like a weird way of putting me down, and now I don't know if I'm being dramatic. No, you're not. I don't criticize him for his food choices, and I actually take his preferences into consideration. But it feels like he criticizes my food choices because of his gagging noises. Is there a way to work through this? Yes, every time he gags, get up, do like they do in the C dramas and slap the fuck out of him. Slap him and say, "Stop fucking gagging. You sound like an idiot. You look like one too. You're in the 28 to 34 age group and this is the best you can do? You're trying to insult my choices of food and my culture, and I don't fucking like it." But you know what? Um, I'm just, this is, I don't even know what to say. See, my acceptance level for disrespect is so low. I mean, it's like fingernail thick low. You cross that level of disrespect and we're done here, sir. So, somebody making comments about the food I like or actually making gagging noise like he's about to throw up, I would have probably thrown the whole plate of fish on him and say, yeah, now you're going to have something to gag about. See, I'd like to see myself doing stuff like that because he doesn't like fish, right? Wear this shit. Now it's going to be all over your clothes. You're going to be smelling it all the way home. Now, you want to gag? Here's something for you to gag over. And then I would have got up and walked the fuck out and that'd been done. Yeah, that would get on my nerves. I mean, the first time he did it, that would have got on my nerves. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Hey, well, what I don't like it. Nobody gives a fuck what you like. This ain't about you. This is what I like. And you good, girl, because I'm telling you, every time we went out somewhere and they had sushi, I would have ordered it and dared him to make that gagging noise. Otherwise, it's like, you going to do that again? I'm going to fling this whole plate of fish on you. And you're going to smell like this for the next several hours until you get back home. Yeah, but you want to be childish. You know how I told you all batch energy, right? He want to be childish. I'm gonna start flinging shit and act like I'm two. You know how 2 years throw food? That that would be me throwing my fish at him. This dude, oof, what a piece of work. I don't know. I keep hearing about these. Okay, white boys, y'all need to do better when you in these interracial, intercultural relationships. This kind of shit here is not the way to go. It's so disrespectful. And it's like, and they just don't seem to have any problem with, this kind of mockery of their women's culture and calling them racial slurs, all kind of crazy shit's going on. I just don't understand it. Y'all better than me because I'd be cussing them the fuck out. Question number 14. This is a female, 22 to 27 from San Diego. Summary of issue. Was I too harsh for telling the bride that her armpits smell on her wedding day since I was the maid of honor? Can you imagine somebody walk up to and say, bitch, your ass is a funky. Oh my God, I don't know why this is making me laugh. Okay, they in San Diego, and you know it was hot. I have a best friend, we're both 27 who got married recently. Okay, yeah, it's been hot. It was a beautiful outdoor wedding in the middle of the day on the West Coast. During the reception portion, she was sweaty and her armpit smelled. I discreetly tell her since that's what we usually do for each other. Before she married her husband, she got mad at him one time because he didn't warn her that she smelled when they went to a fancy event. She excused herself. I had smelled my own pit, so I excused myself to freshen up as well. When I returned, she was back and she smelled great again. I thought I did a good thing. But when she got back from their honeymoon, she told me that I made her self-conscious for the rest of the wedding. She said I made her feel bad and that she said she's mad at me for ruining her big day. What do I do now? You turn around and say, okay, so if I hadn't said anything, just let you walk around smelling like the backside of an elephant, then you really would have been embarrassed and your feelings would have been hurt, and you really would have been self-conscious. Everybody would have been turning their noses up. So I told you so you wouldn't have to go through that embarrassment. And now you want to be mad at me, bitch? Fuck you. Next time you over there stinking, I'm gonna just let you stink, and because it won't be bothering me, this funky ass underarms and shit. You know what I mean? I just, because it's hot, and you couple that with the nervousness. You know what I mean? Because it's stressful. So your deodorant is gonna like get up and run away. I mean, it's rare that a deodorant can last through all of that from the morning shower to the whole day. You would have to do some kind of freshen up thing, wash them pits, and put on some new deodorant at least once in the middle of the day. You've probably in those situations twice. Like if she got up at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, took a shower. By, it with all that stuff about when by 11 or 12 o'clock, she should have been hitting them underarms, washing them up, and putting on some fresh deodorant. And then around 4 or 5 o'clock, the same thing. So reception went on way, into the evening. Yes, I remember that commercial. And people they would be going this little timid little, because they would want them armpits exposed. She stopped talking to you because she was stinky. She should have been happy. You told her. I don't understand why we're walking around want to smell like a damn zoo animal and then be mad at you because you tell them. Unbelievable. Anyway, that's what you need to do, girlfriend. You need to call her up and just read her the riot act about that. Say next time, I'm not gonna say nothing and let you walk around smelling like a zoo animal, and then see how embarrassed you get and how bad you feel when everybody talks about your ass behind your back. I was saving you, and so you want to be mad at me? It's not my fault that your ass was funky. That was your fault. You know, my friends would know better than to say some shit like that. Question number 15. She's 28 to 34 from Murfreesboro. Never heard of it. Tennessee. Summary of issue. Was I selfish and insensitive for refusing to make a birthday cake for my daughter's friend? This is a what would Deb do question. Deb, I work a stressful and demanding job with long hours. Even when I'm done with my workday, I'm still technically on call, so I treasure my free time. In my college days, I used to work at a bakery part time to pay for school, and I picked up some cake decoration skills from the confectioner. I quit the job when I graduated, but have made some elaborate cakes once in a while in the years since, mainly for my partner or other close family and friends. I lean heavily onto my engineering background to make them one of a kind, but a major reason they come out so well is because I make them out of love and with the person they're intended for in mind. A few months ago, my daughter's fourth birthday, and I had a big party for her where she invited some of her preschool friends and their parents. My daughter has been obsessed with Rapunzel, so for her birthday, she asked me to make her a Rapunzel cake with a tower. I took a week off work and made an amazing cake. My daughter was incredibly happy, and it was the talk of her friend circle for a while after as well. Last week, I was picking my daughter up from school when I ran into one of the moms, we'll call her Bunny, that was at my daughter's party. I had spoken to her briefly at the party, but that was my only interaction with this chick. She told me that her 4-year-old daughter, Baby Bunny, oh, that's cute, Bunny and Baby Bunny, loved the cake I made for my daughter, and since her birthday is coming in a few days, she has repeatedly insisted on having a similar cake for her birthday. Bitch, no. She asked me if I would be willing to make a cake for Baby Bunny as well. I told her it took me a lot of time and effort to make the cake for my daughter, and I'm not sure I could accommodate. Why did you just say no? She kept insisting, wouldn't take no for an answer because you never said no. You was making excuses, but you didn't say no. And I was running late, so I told her I'll think about it and let her know. See, you still ain't saying no. She took down my number before I left. Later that evening, I asked my daughter if Baby Bunny is a close friend, since I hadn't heard about her more than a handful of times. She said this kid is bossy and she doesn't like her, but she's friends with her best friend. I decided it wasn't worth the hassle and texted Bunny to let her know I can't do it because of my schedule. See, making excuses again. She replied saying that she would really like me to do it and it would make her daughter happy, and that she was willing to pay me for it as well. Tell her you would charge her $1,500 and see how much what she's willing to pay. That's another way to get people to say no to themselves. She was willing to pay. I totally understand, but that it wasn't about the money so much as it was about the time and effort involved. And I'd be happy to recommend some excellent bakeries in the area that could make a custom cake for her daughter. She said that I had managed to find time to make it for my daughter, and surely I can find some for Baby Bunny as well. No, my daughter came out of my body, and so that don't your kid don't rate the same as my child. This is my kid. You make a cake like that for your kid. That's how this works. I was miffed by now and told her that it isn't for her to decide, and I'm just not interested in doing it or continuing the conversation. It devolved into cussing me out and told me I was being a bitch by not thinking of her daughter's happiness. How would you have handled this, Deb? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Let me refresh my memory. Okay. So you made a Rapunzel cake. You took a week off of work to do it to make the tower and all that shit. I can imagine how much work that was. Okay. So Bunny wants you to make a similar cake for her daughter that would took you a week to make. This some bitch you don't even know. Your daughter's not friends with you. You don't have that kind of relationship, and she ain't family. Okay, so then she says she loved the cake, and since her birthday's coming in a few days, when it took you a week to make it, she has repeatedly insisted on having a similar cake for her birthday. She asked me if I would be willing to make a cake for Baby Bunny as well. And so your excuse is, oh, it took me time, all this stuff. I would have said, nope, I'm sure not. It took me a week to do that, and I missed a week of work. So unless you're willing to give me $10,000 to compensate me, taking another few days off of work, the answer to that is no. I don't work for free. You know she would have got cussed out. You know how I do things. That's a great comment. Bunny should have hopped off. And so then if she would have said something about, you did it for your daughter, it's like, that's fucking right, bitch, because I was pregnant with her. I wasn't pregnant with that little bitch that you got. So you don't get to tell me what to do with my time and stuff. And you keep talking, I'll slap the shit out of you because I learned how to do that watching C dramas. They draw back from like east somewhere and wacko. You could hear that smack. The sound effect is fabulous. I want to get that clip so I could play it. When people act stupid on the show, I could just play the sound file for the slap. Yeah, but she would have got cussed out. So it devolved into her cussing you out. You were supposed to cuss her back. Say, you stupid stupid hoe. Ain't nobody trying to make a cake for you and your damn child. I hope the child don't have a birthday. I hope you drown. Now, you have a water park party, and I hope you drown, both of you. I'd say some crass and crude shit like that to her. And she'd be like, oh my God, you're wishing my child, death of my child. No, well, it's really death to you, but that mean if it happens, it happens. What can I say? It is what it is. But if it'll shut you the fuck up, then yeah, I wish it for you. Yeah, that I just gonna try to argue with you about doing some free stuff for her. See, that would have sent me to the moon. Question number 16. This is a female, 35 to 41. From Syracuse, New York, females 50 to 56. Summary issue. How do I tell my recently widowed mom that I can't spend an hour or two on the phone with her every day? My mom is 65 and I'm 35. She got in the habit of calling me every morning on the way to work when my dad got sick, and we would usually talk about his health, and it would last only 15 minutes or so. So I didn't mind. Plus, I wanted to be there for her. Well, ever since he died last year, she started calling me in the morning on her way home for lunch, and we'll talk all the way through her lunch break and back to work, sometimes even continuing while back at the office. And if I don't pick up, she calls 5 to 7 times in a row and gets annoyed. Deb, I have 3 kids and a husband. 2 of my kids are in school and I'm home alone with the newborn all day, so there's literally no, quote, reason I can't talk. And she knows that. She doesn't do it at night because she knows I have a family. But during the day, I feel like it's free game because I don't have a job. I know she's lonely and struggling without my dad, but at the same time, I can't keep having the same mundane conversation about her pets and her work and her lawn every day. Sometimes I literally just want to enjoy the silence. I have 2 siblings who work but don't have kids, who she talks to maybe once a week. How do I handle this without hurting her feelings or our relationship? She just started seeing a grief therapist, by the way. How should I handle this? You should find her a senior center. They have activities every day. I mean, she can go to the senior center. She can make friends. She can, go on the little trips they go on, little casino trips or what the fuck. I mean, I don't know what they. Where are you? You in Syracuse? Okay, I don't know what they have in New York. Maybe they have casinos or something, across the state line or something. They take them on bus trips and they go different places, do all this stuff, go out to dinner, lunch, all kind of stuff be going on. Sign her up for that because that's what it is. She's lonely. She's used to having somebody to talk to and somebody around. And tell her that you understand that, but that you can't fill the gap for your father that he's left in her life. Tell her you just can't do it because you have obligations to your children and your husband, and it's you want to be there for her, but you can't be there for her as in the way that she's trying to force you to be. So you tell her, I can't do this, Mom. I can talk to you once a day for a little bit, but I have stuff to do, and I have a family to manage. Even though I'm not at a job, I have work here that I need to do, and so I can't do it. And but I would look into that. And if you want to, call social services and see or look online to see what kind of senior activities type place. They usually have senior exercise classes and all kind all kind of stuff at the senior center. So that's what you need to find out where there's a senior center near you guys in what did I say she was in? Syracuse, New York. There has to be one. New York is so big, it's so highly populated. There has to be at least one that she can go to. So you do that, maybe go over there with her the first time so she, gets the lay of the land and meet some people, and then after that she's on her own. Question number 17. This is a female, 20 to 34, from Pasadena, California. Male is 22 to 27. Summary of issue. I need relationship advice. I'm 28 and recently went through something incredibly painful and confusing. My fiance, he is 3 years younger, just 25, and I have been together for a year and a half, engaged for 2 months, and we live together. During our holiday, I found out I was pregnant. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do at first. He said he'd support me no matter what, but made it clear he didn't think we should keep it because of financial struggles and our age, mostly his age. Eventually, and with emotional pain, I decided not to keep it. It was heartbreaking, but I tried to stay strong. A few days before the scheduled termination, he told me that he wanted to go out drinking with his friends. I told him I really needed him to stay home and be with me, but he didn't care. During this time, I was also physically unwell. I was constantly nauseous, vomiting a lot. Everything hurt, and I could barely leave the house. On top of that, my grandmother was dying, and we knew her time was coming. Emotionally, I was completely drained. I felt like I was collapsing from every direction, and I just desperately needed support. That same day, my grandmother passed away. Despite all of this, he still went out. I felt completely alone. At one point, I messaged his friends and said something like, "You're lucky to have a friend who makes time for you while his pregnant fiance is suffering physically, emotionally, and just lost her grandmother." Oh, what a fucking drama queen. When he found out, he just laughed at me and said I was ridiculous. Well, that's what you deserved. He showed no empathy at all. I felt like nothing I said or did could reach him emotionally, like I had no impact on him at all. I was angry and hurt, but eventually I cried myself to sleep. Oh my God. Later, I woke up to a missed call from him and he was still out at the bar. I called him back and he asked, "How are you?" I said, "Well, how do you think I am? I'm pregnant. I feel sick. I'm having an abortion in 2 days. And my grandma just died. How do you think I feel?" His response was, "Well, unless you need to go to the hospital, I'm staying at the bar." I love him. That moment shattered me. I hung up on him. I felt so alone, so overwhelmed, and probably under the influence of pregnancy hormones. I drove to the bar he was at, gave him his car keys and his stuff, and told him I was done. He laughed in my face. I told me I was pathetic and ridiculous, and said he never wanted to see me again. I ended up crying in the taxi home. He did not say, "Let's go home," or "I understand that this is hard." Later that night, he came home and started berating me again, saying everyone thinks I'm crazy. I am embarrassing and pathetic. I was really tired and just wanted to sleep. He said I had hurt him so much that he wouldn't let it go unpunished rather, and that I didn't deserve to sleep. Okay, then they went on and on with her crying. Okay, then on the day of the termination, I finally texted him and told him what it was like, how painful and humiliated I felt. But even that same day, instead of offering any support, he brought up the bar incident again and told me he still thought I was ridiculous and over the top for what I did. There was no compassion, no comfort, just more judgment. During the termination and after, he was barely present. He said he wouldn't leave me alone because, quote, "we did this together," but I never really felt supported. I wrote down my feelings about the day, about how painful and humiliating it was, and his response was, "I don't understand why you're mourning. It wasn't even a child. A child only exists once it's born." That crushed me. Maybe I'm maybe I'm not even sure what I want to hear about writing you. Maybe just perspective. Was I expecting too much? Please be honest. So you don't have to worry about me. I'm being honest because I'm about to ream your ass. First of all, you are too old to be acting like this. You're older than him. He's only 25 and you're 3 years older. So you're 28 years old. And this is how you handle yourself. Okay, everything that was happening to you, I mean, I'm trying to figure out when you say support, what does that look like? What does you want him to be able to do? He can't stop your grandmother from dying. He can't make you unpregnant. He can't stop you from having pains in your body. There's nothing he can do here. Okay, except look at you and maybe say some placating, stupid words that don't mean shit, but he can't do anything. Don't you understand how men feel? They want to be effective people, they want to make an impact. One thing they do not want to do is feel helpless, like they can't do anything. That's why he went to the bar. And you, instead of trying to sit down and be a mature woman, 28 years old, and trying to understand his perspective, all you could think about is yourself. See, and when he said that you put ridiculous in perspective and ridiculous and pathetic, he's right. Because you gonna call his friends and think that you're gonna get them to kind of be your flying monkeys against him to help him them for them to help you rein him in and come home and pay attention to you. Look at you cry and be all stupid. If you thought that you was gonna get support from me on this behavior, you were sadly mistaken, chick. Very sadly mistaken. This is the worst behavior I have ever heard from somebody 28 years old. And you definitely did not need to be nobody's mama. So I'm glad you got an abortion. That was the best decision you could have ever made. Look at you just being all stupid. I wouldn't want to live with you either. I would have broke up with you. Just crying. Yeah, she just wanted him to sit there and look and just sit there and absorb all her negative energy and hold her hand and stuff like she's a fucking baby at almost 30. You know? And I'm saying that, okay, then what did you want him to do? Like, when the termination, I mean, don't you think he has some feelings about it as well? You're not giving him any space to have any kind of emotions about losing the kid that he might have started caring for about him, himself. I mean, it's for some people, it's a traumatic thing. I mean, it wouldn't be for me. I mean, because the trauma for me would be like, oh my God, 18 years of child support and responsibility for a kid I didn't want. That would be the trauma for me. That little hopping up on the table shit, that don't mean nothing. That the reality of having a baby and having to take care of it and fund it and educate it and be responsible for it, that's where the trauma is. So people just, like I was affected. You were just a fucking drama queen. That's what that is. It's not even like he said. It's not even a baby just collecting them some random cells. I mean, a lot of times women, that just gets shot out anyway. They think they having uh, a regular like a heavy menstrual cycle, but it's actually a natural termination. The body got rid of it. So a lot of times you don't even know that you were pregnant, and it's already gone. So I mean, you're not attached to that. You're not having all kind of feelings about that. So what's the difference? It is what it is. If it's not viable where it can like breathe and live on its own, then it ain't a baby yet. That's my own personal judgment about the whole thing. So yeah, you were definitely expecting too much. And like I said, if you thought you were gonna get sympathy from me, you were sadly mistaken. I'm 100% in his camp. You were doing the absolute fucking most. Question number 18. This is a female, 28 to 34 from Rockford, Illinois. Summary of issue. I made my wedding child free and my sister is taking it personally. So me and my fiance, we're both in our early 30s, are planning our wedding. We decided pretty early that we don't want kids there, partly because of the budget and partly because the venue is small. And also, we just want a chill night without screaming toddlers. My sister has two kids, 3 and 6. And when I told her, she got pissed. She said I'm, quote, excluding her family, end quote, and that if her kids can't come, she won't either. Now my mom is saying that I should, quote, just make an exception for family, end quote. But if I do it for her, then my cousins will also expect to bring theirs. I told her it's nothing personal, but she says I'm selfish and I don't understand what it's like to be a parent. It's making me feel guilty, but also kind of annoyed because it's our wedding. You just stick to your no and hire security. So in case somebody comes up there with their kids, you can have two big old buffalo-looking men there at the door saying, "This is a child-free event. Please return to your vehicle. Find a sitter for your child if you want to come back. Otherwise, I'll have a nice day." They're always diplomatic when they tell you to fuck off. They do it in a very, nice way, but even they smile at you and stuff. But basically, they're telling you, you know, fuck off, and that's pretty much it. Now, I'm all for having child-free weddings because kids they want to run around and they scream. The babies start getting bored, they want to cry, and the toddlers want to just throw fits on the floor, or they want to like get in the way, like the bride and groom having their dance. Here comes somebody who's not keeping track of their kid gonna bust onto the dance floor and fuck up the video. All kind of stuff be going on. They want to go and they're going to destroy the cake, digging their little fingers in it because the parents don't watch them. So the kids are always wreaking havoc all through the wedding. So, just don't have kids in weddings. Little kids don't belong at weddings. No child should be at a wedding unless they're at least 15 years old. That's my own personal belief. If they're younger than that and they're not the flower girl, something that's going to go home right after the ceremony, then they don't need to be there. I think every wedding should be child free, personally, because people spend too much money on those things. And nobody trying to feed your child no $55 a plate dinner that they're not going to eat. Fuck out of here. Feed your kid them weenies and spaghettios at home. That cheap shit you always feed them. They don't need to eat nothing else. So anyway, my bottom line is I think you're totally within your right to do this and stick to your guns. Tell your sister, well, we'll send you videos, or maybe we'll live stream it. You can watch it on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, whatever platform you have. Say you live stream it, and she can see the ceremony on the live stream. Offer her that, but say, but under no circumstances are you to come with your kids. And if you can't come without your kids, then stay home. Yeah, they're annoying as fuck, and people they don't never see their little kids that way. They see, oh my precious angel, yo, fucking demon spawn from hell is destroying everything and running around just making a bunch of mess and destroying stuff. Ain't nobody trying to be bothered with that. Yeah, see, that's the part she's losing track of. She's trying to please everybody else. This is your money, your husband, and it's your wedding. So it's your decision. And so that's all you need to tell people. It's my money, it's my wedding, it's my way. And so, all the stuff y'all talking is going in one ear and out the other. Don't show up at my place with no kids because I'm going to have security there and they're going to bounce you the fuck up out of there. So pay attention to what I'm saying. I'm serious. But I could probably see you being more mature acting than most little kids. Because, that's, I mean, that you was on the dance floor all night, that was fine. But, a lot of the little kids, their parents don't raise them to know how to behave in public places like that. I mean, and so they just run wild, you know, they just run wild. Yeah, I could see that. So you probably would have been fun at the wedding, but, still. Yeah, child-free weddings, they used to not have those, but now everybody's doing it because it costs too much. People spending $40,000, $50,000 on a wedding. I wouldn't do it, but whatever. Question number 19. We got 25 questions. I got to stop talking so much because this is dragging on and on. This is a young man, 22 to 27, from Patterson, New Jersey. The young lady is 18 to 21. Summary of issue. Fighting with my, I don't know what's FB. I don't know what that means. About not letting my girlfriend adopt a dog. I'm 23 and living with my girlfriend who is 21. She badly wants a pet dog since her bestie got one. The thing is, we are living in a small apartment, which I don't think is the right environment to raise a dog. They they won't have room to run around. I'm also really allergic to dogs. Well, they should put that first. One time she went to her friend's house and played with their dog. I knew this and told her to go straight to the bathroom to shower and get rid of the fur that would stick to her clothing. But she didn't. She went straight to our bed before showering. Deb, I had to go see a doctor because of it. She knows this allergy is serious, yet she refuses to change her mind about adopting a dog. So instead, she keeps telling me how her friend's husband is also allergic to dogs, but he takes meds to tolerate it. But that would not work for me. My breathing gets restricted if I come into contact with dog fur, but her friend's husband just gets a little rash. How do I convince her not to get a dog? To be honest, I'm getting a bit burned out by all her dog talk, and she doesn't always seem to care about my opinion or my safety. I do not want to waste my time dating someone who I won't marry. Then that's what you tell her. Say, look, right now you saw that you playing with the dog sent me to the hospital. If what do you think would happen if a dog was here in the fucking house? So I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not saying you can't get a dog, but you can't get a dog and be with me. So you pack your shit and get the fuck out, and you go get a dog, and you and your dog live happily ever after. Because one thing, I don't want to hear about no goddamn dog. I don't want to see no goddamn dog. I don't want to smell no goddamn dog, and I want no goddamn dog hair in my house. So you take yourself and your doggy fixation on somewhere else, and this shit right here is over. And you stand over her while she gets her shit and packs and leaves. One thing, my brother, my young brother, you do not ever want to take in life is somebody who disrespects you to the point where your health is affected. Okay, I'm not a down for, like I said, my ability to tolerate disrespect is like this fingernail thick. So, I mean, to me, when she did that and she didn't shower and wash it off and went right to bed with it, where you would have to sleep all night, she wanted you to get sick. She wanted you to have to suffer because so I mean I'm not sure how you're seeing this, but someone who really cared about you would have probably changed clothes outside somewhere. They wouldn't have even brought the dog those clothes into the house for risk fear that it would get it transfer. It transferred to furniture, carpets and stuff. So I'm looking at her behavior very narcissistic and self-serving with absolutely no concern for you being able to breathe even. So I'm like that too. Dog dander sends but my asthma will kick in and I can't fucking breathe for shit. So I totally know where you're coming from. And I'm telling you, if I had somebody like that in my life, it would be over. What I just told you to say to her, I would have said that as soon as she came in the door with that and got in the bed with dog hair and shit all over her. She wanted you to get sick. That was your punishment for not letting her get a dog. You might not see it that way, but that's how I see it. Question number 20. This is a female in the 22 to 27 age group from Edmonton, Canada. Summary of issue. Why do men talk about a future with a woman and then break up nearly immediately afterward? Because they want to see if you're stupid enough to believe it. Is this a trick question? Okay, let's see what happened here. You 22 to 27, so you kind of young, hopefully. I generally don't get it. There are so many memes about it, and I've seen it happen multiple times in real life. Nothing changes, and the conversations make the relationship seem solid, and then bam, the guy X's out of nowhere. What gives? I know some guys are seen as mean or immature for setting expectations, for wanting to keep it casual or what have you. And while I am someone who likes to be exclusive, men setting these expectations in my opinion, is way better than a guy pretending he's interested in the long term just to pull the plug whatever is convenient. I just don't get the mentality. If you're not serious, find someone else not serious. Well, the thing is, what you're doing is you're listening to the words and not really paying attention to what he's doing. Because a man who's serious is going to show you by his behavior. He's gonna be Johnny on the spot. He's gonna do extra over and above. He's gonna do shit without you having to ask him. He's gonna be looking for opportunities to make you happy and to show you that he cares. He's gonna be looking for those things. He's gonna create those opportunities. When you have somebody who's sitting back with their legs crossed and all they doing is talking a bunch of yang, well, you can bet that motherfucker's not serious. He's not serious about nothing. He's just trying to find the most expeditious path to the draws. And so he knows that most women, and this is, I'd say, a good 80% of women are so auditory that they pay attention to what men say and they are blinded to what men do. And I keep trying to get you all to do the opposite. Watch what he's doing and then listen to what he's saying. If what he's doing is not matching with what he's saying, then ignore him completely and next his ass. Okay? Because a lot of times the guy won't even know that he's liking you as much as he does. He's not really like in touch with his emotions, but he'll be showing you by how he treats you, the stuff he does for you, the shit he goes out to do for your mama. To do, I mean, just favors, all kind of stuff that he's doing to take care of you, to make sure that your life is easier and better and happier. And then finally, by the time he realizes he's in love, it's too late. He's just like, oh shit, wait a minute. I didn't want to be in love. Oh, too late. But you got to pay attention to that kind of stuff, not the guy who's just talking, the future talk. Yeah, when we get older, we're going to be like this, and I can just see us with two kids, and I'm going to name my son this and that, and if we have two sons, then my second son will be named this. So just talk. We could go on vacation to such and such a place, but he ain't bought no ticket. He ain't made no reservation. He ain't told you when to take some time off putting your vacation request. He ain't done shit. Just talk. And that's the thing that I think a lot of young girls they don't really understand. If dudes are gonna talk, they're gonna do they're gonna say whatever they need to say to get them jobs. Okay, and that's all it is. Question number 21. This is a young lady, 22 to 27, from Logan City, Australia. Summary of issue. A guy sprung on me that he has a kid. Okay. So I was talking to someone from the apps. It was going very well. We had a lot in common. Then, after a while of texting and phone calls, he springs on me that he has a child. I was shocked to say the least because he didn't mention it at all in his profile. Is it okay to date someone who never mentioned having a kid on their profile, but later on tells you that they have a child? I really don't like when people are not transparent on their profiles about these things. Get over it. Let me explain something to your dumb ass. I am firm. No parent should put that they have a child on their profile on a dating site out into the universe of weirdos and predators and pedophiles and all this other stuff that's online now. Nobody should do that. You talk to somebody and you vet them first because they might be somebody that you don't even want to meet, let alone you don't want them to know that you have children. It's not their business. Some stranger on the internet scrolling around trying to find who's got a kid and lives near them to a kid so they can figure out who to prey on. Why you would even think that that's a good idea is beyond me. That must be the 22 to 27 mindset. You don't think about nothing but yourselves at that age, and you're just dumb as hell. Why in the world would somebody put all that personal information about minor children on the fucking internet? Please explain that to me. Why you think that they need to do that? Okay, I want you to think about this and how stupid you're being and the risk that somebody's putting their child or children in just to satisfy your fucking curiosity. He told you when he felt comfortable enough to tell you, and that's gonna have to be good enough. I probably wouldn't have told your ass shit. I would have went on a couple of dates with you first, and then if I decided I liked you, then I would tell you. Yeah, Nikki. But Nikki, if they just listen to my videos, they would get all this information. I've been telling them the same shit for 30 years, and it just hasn't sunk it in yet. It's I guess the people that need to see it just don't listen. They don't know. I don't know what to say. But I do know there's people even that listen that still don't act on it. They get caught up in their feelings and they do something else, and they want to write in and talk about, oh, I know you said not to do it, but once they say but, it's a wrap. But yeah, this I seriously, no parent, if you all listen to this, if you got a kid, you have a child, you have a minor child. I'm not talking about somebody who's, an adult in college or something like that. Even high school, they're still minors. Don't put any information about your kids on the internet. If you have pictures of your kids, make sure that your page is private. Don't put any kind of locator thing, those geo-tracking things on your pictures. Because then weirdo people can know where you are and they can figure out where you and where your kid might go to school. I mean, don't do that. Please don't do that. This is not the society that we used to have. You can't got to protect your kids everywhere that you can. Okay? Just don't be so free and fucking easy with your information. It drives me crazy. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, it's everything in the world is on this channel. Every kind of game that you would want to hear about, every kind of tip for success, about your self esteem, about building your confidence, vetting men, vetting women, raising children, parenting properly. I have everything on this channel. There's nothing on here that I have not already addressed. We even talked about the trans movement. Okay, talked about dating convicts, talked about people doing booty stuff, booty sex, talked about all kind of stuff on this channel. So everything that you need to know to make smarter decisions is already here. There's like almost 2,000 videos on here now. Okay, so just a bit, just use the search feature, search this channel, and put in a string of keywords that you're looking for, and I'm sure it will come up. Oh my God. Question number 22. This is a young lady, 22 to 27. She's black, a Gemini from Sacramento, California. Some of issue. Experience with men isn't great. I feel like these details are important to share. How many details are you sharing? You just a little wordy. I'm a 22-year-old black woman, and my experiences with men have honestly never been great. Either things start off okay and then just don't end well, or they get distant, or most of the time it just feels like all they want is nook nook. I'm not sure if I'm ugly or not, but at this point I assume I might not fit society standards. I live in a mostly white area of Northern California, and that's my type too. But I'm pretty open-minded. It's frustrating because if a guy does approach me, race always seems to come up for some reason. When I'm out with my friends who are white or Latina, they get approached, but I never do. Also, I want to point out that in my city, most races, including black men, do not like black women. I have some black male friends who themselves confirm this, unfortunately. Well, you know, stupid men. Recently, my experience with men have been so negative that even when I start talking to someone, it doesn't last. They ghost me. It feels like no one takes me seriously. It's gotten to the point where my anxiety around men is so bad that I don't even know how to talk to them sometimes. I feel robotic and get lost in my own thoughts. I'm honestly traumatized at this point. There's this one guy I'm friends with, and I do have feelings for him, but I don't see it going anywhere. He treats me well. We talk every day. But whenever we hang out, Nook Nook is always involved. I can't shake the feeling that that's all he sees in me, just my physical side. I'll get upset over little things that trigger my insecurities, and even if I know I'm overthinking, I just can't help it. We've had a conversation about it, and he said he's not looking for anything serious, but based on how we interact, it's hard not to want more. Then stop doing it. You don't have the mindset or the constitution for a friends with benefits. I just don't feel comfortable opening up to anyone anymore, and I'm always anxious because I feel like I know how things will end. I know I shouldn't care this much because I'm not mentally ready for a long-term relationship, but it still hurts to not be taken seriously, even if it's just for a fling. How can you be serious if it's just a fling? Do you understand how confusing you're confused? I definitely feel like my skin color plays a role because the treatment I get is so different from those around me. You don't know what's going on with them. You just know who approaches them. You don't know how they get treated by those men. And if they still single, that should be the answer right there. It ain't all a picnic in their camp either. I know patterns can sometimes be my own doing. Maybe my social skills aren't perfect because I get so anxious, but I'm trying to work on it. When I feel like this and start crying, I immediately shut down and tell myself I should focus on school, learning, and personal growth. But who wouldn't want a partner or someone close? Any advice for me? You say you don't want one, you're not ready for one, and then you say you want one, and you crying because you don't have one, and everybody rejects you. Do you understand the circular conversation and the mental confusion that you must be having over there? Because you got me all kind of mixed. I don't know what the hell you want. You all over the place. But I'm going to suggest this. You stop dating and get yourself on somebody's shrink couch. That's what you need because you need to first figure out what in the world has got you so wound up that you're doing all this overthinking and analyzing. The second thing you need to do is to figure out, get your self-esteem in order and shut down this friends with benefits shit with this dude. That's not going nowhere. You're just getting used there. And the third thing you need to do is to figure out what it is that you really do want. Because, like I said, this letter, just this letter alone, shows you don't really know what you want. You all over the place. You know, I want a relationship, I don't want a relationship. Oh, nobody pays attention to me. Oh, but yeah, I'm not ready for a relationship anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. You know, you're just back and forth, back and forth. You're confusing. You're confusing me. So if you know, when you put a demand, a request out to the universe, it has to be clear and definitive. If you say, I want XYZ, it has to be that thing only, and that's all you ask for, and then it will come. But you ask all kind of, yeah, she just all over the place. Oh, to my class? Yeah, I got that webinar coming up. I haven't really been promoting it. It's supposed to be next month. I guess I Need to start doing that because I don't think anybody signed up for it yet. I might have a free day. I'll put it off until spring or something. I don't care. Question number 23. This is a female, 18 to 21, from Seattle, Washington. The male's 22 to 27. Summary of issue. My boyfriend keeps asking for more than I can provide. Me and my boyfriend have been dating for 11 months. And for the last 3 months, he has been really demanding attention and clingy. Since he met me, I've made it very clear several times how I related to him. I'm a detached person, and I will only be able to give you attention when I'm not busy with my entrance exams. And he said he understood. During the start, I gave him plenty of attention. We called each other every single day and chatted for 3 hours or more. And in those calls, he said, I am dependent on you, and I want you to be dependent on me too. I was weirded out but decided to ignore it. Well, that was your first mistake. But now today he stormed because I was busy writing my essay, so I couldn't talk to him. And he texted, I'm sad. So I texted back, we can talk about it if you feel comfortable. He wanted to call me, but I was in the middle of a class dealing with my essays, and he sent it, it's fine. You never have time for me anyways. Honestly, no, she put honestly with a question mark. I was hurt. It felt like the worst girlfriend in the world. Oh, just break up with him. We already have a lot of conversations, negotiated the time together. I explained my side and how I need you time alone. Explain why I'm absent sometimes, but the problem is always coming back and him insisting on the constant attention. What are your thoughts? I'm seriously considering a breakup, but I also feel so good. No, you need to break up with him, and I want you to not until you get through all of this stuff where you need to concentrate and focus on what you're trying to do. Don't date anybody. You can't be nobody's girlfriend because you don't have the time for it. You don't have the room for somebody to fit in your life like that. So don't do it to them. Don't even set yourself up to be, frustrated like that, and you don't set them up to be frustrated either. Yeah, these clingy ass men. But a lot of times, let me just say this another game, though, another game, y'all. They're not really that clingy. They don't really need you that much. What they want to do is fuck up your program, though. They don't, they see that you're a young lady on the rise, right? She going to school, she's trying to do this, she's trying to get in, you're doing her entrance exam, she's focused, right? She's trying to make something of herself, she's trying to set herself up for some big things and some accomplishments. This is a man who got hours to spend on the phone every day talking about nothing. He ain't doing nothing constructive with his time. He ain't out there like working a second job, trying to go to school himself, reading some books to get some fat on his head, getting an internship, learning something, doing something. He's not doing all that. He wants to keep her, distract her from what she's doing, and guilt trip her when she doesn't have time for him and sets good, clear boundaries. So this, be careful about that. Yeah, he sounds like a Klingon, but it's not that simple, Ash. There's always you got to look behind the curtain and see, like in the Wizard of Oz. What it looks like and what it sounds like ain't necessarily what it really is, and that's why I always caution you guys to really go deeper. You'll go, okay, this is the surface. This is what it looks like on the surface, but why? Okay, always think about why and all the possible reasons why this person could be doing that. And every single time you do that, you're going to arrive at the real reason, which is he on some bullshit. That's the answer 99% of the time. They on some bullshit. But it never fails. See, the next thing he would be trying to do is get her pregnant and then, like sabotaging her birth control to get her pregnant and then telling her how she needs to have his baby. So then her whole life would be derailed because of him. So you, young lady, your best bet, since I see the direction it's going and it's not a good direction for you, is to cut this off and tell them, I can't give you what you need, so I'm going to end this because I really need to concentrate on what I'm trying to do, to go to school and all this kind of stuff, and I don't think it's fair to you that I have to ignore you so much. So you should go find somebody else who got more time for you because I just can't do it. Okay? Well, then you hang up and you block him. Make sure you block him. Don't be one of those stupid girls that can break up with somebody and let them keep calling and texting. You block the motherfucker. And any other number he tries to call you on, you block that too. You block him on your social media pages. You block him on your phone. You block him on your email. You block him everywhere. Okay? So he can't bother you. Question number 24. This is a female, 50-59, from Scottsdale, Arizona. The male, 60 to 65. Summary issue. Am I being selfish for wanting to sell my home and retire because my adult kids refuse to help out? Oh, huh. My oldest daughter, she's 20 and a college junior, just moved back from uni and attending off campus now. The other daughter, 19, withdrew from school and asked to move in so she wouldn't have to pay rent or live with 3 or 4 roommates. She moved in during the summer with zero goals or objectives, but is working full time in the service industry and stays out a lot with friends and couch surfs often. Okay, so she's using your house as a flop house for her partying. They each make their own car payments, about $300. We are co-signers on the loans. They pay $40 each for their cell phones on the family plan, and one pays $20 toward the water bill and the other one $20 towards the electricity. That's all. However, neither of them is self-motivated to clean up after themselves or do chores. They were raised with structured rules and responsibilities, yet they only clean up when it's absolutely necessary or when they are directly asked to. We're talking about the primary bathroom they share, dishes in the sink, pet care, etc. And forget any assistance with outside of the home. We pay someone to cut the grass and we end up taking out the trash ourselves every week because they literally don't seem to know how to drag the can curbside. Well, y'all let them get away with that. This makes us feel utterly exhausted. Having to tell adults who are raised doing chores to actually do chores is a level of stress I could have never anticipated. Hubs and I have started a serious discussion about selling our house because we already have a second home that is smaller and out of state that we live in. We want to move on with retirement and end the constant frustration, plus the added expenses that come from maintaining a larger home. Family thinks we would be abandoning our kids in tough economic times, but none of them has an answer for dealing with the laziness or ungratefulness we endure every day. Are we wrong for wanting to finally unload our primary home and move on, which would force our adult kids to manage on their own? Nope. I mean, but this is your fault because when they moved in, you should have laid down the law then. For before you move in here, you're gonna pay this much money, and you're gonna do this. You're gonna contribute this much work to the house, and you're gonna do the dishes. 3 times a week. You're gonna get Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And your sister's gonna get Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And on Sunday, your dad and I will do them. And then you're gonna put out the garbage. You guys can take turns putting the trash cans out. One of you gonna put it out. The other one's gonna bring them back in. That's gonna be every week. You could work it out, which if you want to switch off or whatever, you guys work that out. But one of your asses better be pulling them cans out. The other one bringing them back in the next day. And you're gonna keep that bathroom clean, and you're gonna clean your rooms. I don't want my house looking like a pigsty. See, you didn't do any of that. You didn't do any of that. You just let them move in, and they just thinking that life is gravy and paying these little minimal ass bills. So what it's not too late. You can say, this is what you need to do. I want you to get the fuck out. You guys got 30 days to find a place to live because me and your dad are going to sell the house and we're moving. We're going to go into retirement. So y'all need to find some place to live because it's not going to be with us. You could do that too. Yeah, they do. They do. I don't know, because I was on what forum was I on? I was on somewhere, and somebody had written a question. This mother had written a question about she had coerced her daughter into. Oh, I think it was on Reddit. This girl could, because I have a page over there called Black and Single, so I go over there every once in a while and post stuff and look around. And so she had the daughter had been pregnant or so, no, the daughter she wanted the daughter to go to college, and the daughter really wasn't, for that major, but the mother made her go, and so she went. And then she decided she didn't really like it. And then so she went back to school and became an attorney and now is doing very well for herself. She found her niche. Okay, but the son dropped out of high school and didn't want to go to college, didn't go to trades, didn't do nothing. And then he's mad because he wants the same amount of money that she gave the sister. What she did was she gave the sister the money that she paid for her law stuff because she felt like she had fucked up by forcing her to go to school and waste all those years and time on the degree that the girl never wanted. She just did it because her mother pressed her. So the mother felt guilty, so she reimbursed her for the college. It was about 60 grand. So the boy, who not having done anything, was demanding the same amount of money. So the woman had posted asking if she should give it or not. And I said, absolutely not. And it was always amazing how many of them, because everybody on Reddit is young and stupid. And so they're like, well, no, that's not fair. And that's going to make him feel some kind of way. And I'm like, he need to get his ass up and tell him, well, if you go give him the money, put it in an account and say use it for education only. And if you don't use it to go to school, then it'll stay there until your kids will use it to go to school. But it's a school fund. That's what your sister used it for. And that's what you would use it for. If you think I'm just going to give you $60,000 on the strength that you want it, that's just not happening. So you haven't done anything that would warrant you getting this kind of money. And so, but they all had this idea that this boy deserved it, and I came in to correct him. I was like, y'all has got some shit twisted. Once your parents are only obligated to give you stuff until you turn 18. After that, it's on the strength of what they want to do, and they don't have to do shit for you, and you're not entitled to their money. And they voted me down so many, like about 100 down votes. And I was like, well, that shows I hit a nerve. They were so upset that I said that because it goes against their sense of entitlement that this young generation has. It's really amazing to me. They really feel like people owe them something. And I told them no. And if I was the mother, I wouldn't even do that. It's like, no, you blew your chance when you dropped out. That was your chance to do something great, grand, and wonderful that I might have helped you with, but you didn't do it. And you just want to be a dropout with your hands stuck out. You're a man. You got to get off your ass and do something for yourself. I would give his ass shit. But, it's her money, so she would have to decide how to handle that. But I know me, I would have gave him nothing. And when he was talking about, you owe me, I would have been like, fuck you. So yeah, lady, sell your house. Tell them that they got 30 days and that you guys are gonna move on, and so they need to find a place to live. They can move in together. They can get a two-bedroom place to share. That's what they can do. Question number 25. This is a female, 22 to 27. She's black from Austin, Texas. The male is 28 to 34, and he's white. So I'm an issue. I broke up with my boyfriend after he took my coworker's side in a conflict about the food I eat at lunch. So I made a social media post recently about a coworker who wouldn't stop making comments about the food that I bring to work. I like trying out different cultural meals my multicultural circle of friends recommends, like jollof rice, Indian butter chicken, mapo tofu, jajangmyeon, I think that's how you pronounce it, is Korean food, jerk chicken, etc. But this one white girl coworker, she's about 30, kept making digs about the smell or that it was weird or looked gross or that I should just eat normal food. It got old fast and I finally told her to stop. Well, somehow it came up when I was venting to my boyfriend, and instead of being supportive, he said I was, quote, making a mountain out of a molehill and, quote, overreacting. He then said that my coworker was probably just joking and I should lighten up. Okay, so I told him flat out that it didn't feel like a joke to me. It felt like constant disrespect. He brushed it off and said, well, you're always so sensitive. That honestly hurt more than what my coworker said. Oh, no, let me show you sensitive. Let me keep my racial slurs to myself. We've only been dating for 10 months, so I broke up with him on the spot. Good job. I just couldn't wrap my head around the fact that the person who's supposed to have my back and love me chose to side with someone who belittles and humiliates me daily. But Deb, now I'm second guessing myself and wondering if I did the right thing or if I'm overreacting by ending a relationship over this. Nope, you're not. You're not overreacting. This is marked disrespect. And what he's doing is co-signing with the disrespect and telling you that you're overreacting because you got upset at being disrespected repeatedly, daily by the same stupid bitch. This is actually a thing that you could go to HR about because that's basically harassment. These are cultural dishes that you're bringing for your lunch, and she has no business commenting about anything. It's like you good because I would have told the bitch if you don't like what I eat, then take your ass out of here. Go to somewhere else and eat that old nasty ass food that you like to eat with just salt as a seasoning and no scent, no flavor. That's what you want. I like food with some seasonings in it. You don't like it to you. It's gross and weird, but that's because you eat some fucked up food. So I mean, what you want from me? And that's the kind of thing you go up and you say it to her real quietly so nobody can hear what you say. And even if she runs to HR, you can say, "I never said that." She's lying. She's making things up. I don't know why she's making things up. But let me tell you what she does to me. And see, you would have witnesses to what she's doing to you. She wouldn't have no witness to what you say. Because you could say, I just told her that I would appreciate her stop talking to me like that, but I did it in a way close to her so I wouldn't embarrass her in front of everybody. But now she wants to turn it into something else. I'm telling you, I should get an Academy Award for the lies I be telling on folks. One thing I'm not going to do, I'm going to get you in trouble before I get me. I'm going to have some shit for your ass. Yeah, that's not, you're right. Yeah, I had it, but I don't know how to pronounce it. That's my problem. But I had some. There's a Korean restaurant over here I like to go to. So yeah, girl, you're not you did the right thing by getting rid of this guy. One thing I do not like is people that co-sign on their partners being disrespected. Like I said, what he's supposed to do is say, baby, you like to try different kinds of foods, and I appreciate the world view that you have, where you're not trying to just be limited by the Texas mentality, because that's what that is. I never in my life met people with such closed minds until I went to Houston. I tell you, I met people who had never been, they had never traveled, they'd never been outside the Houston city limits. Now, it's a huge place, don't get me wrong. I mean, compared to San Francisco, it's like six San Franciscos or seven San Francisco could fit in just the city of Houston. But I met so many country ass, backwards ass thinking people. And, everything that you eat, like, I remember they hadn't really have like Sichuan restaurants and stuff yet when I went down there. This was in the 80s. And when I first went down there, they probably have some now. And so I'm looking for, some San Francisco style good Chinese food. And people say, oh, there's great Chinese food over here. So we went to this place. It was like in a warehouse. So we must have had, I don't even know how many hundreds of tables, seemed like. Every single dish was covered in this brown gravy. I mean, all the food looked the same. And I mean, it had a flavor, but it wasn't like, it wasn't like tangible different flavors on your tongue like you might have if you have a Sichuan, Cantonese man, the different regions have different flavors to them. And so I was like appalled and I thought, what is this? This can't be like, they were like, oh, this is so good. So then I had to remember where I was. These are Texans. They're not used to nothing like that. And so that's what you're dealing with, young lady. You have a worldview and you want to try to experience the world, but you're in an environment in the state of Texas is not the place where you try to experiment and be different, to be like to have a worldview. It's not really that tolerated, that understood. There'll be a few people, like most of the friends I had down there were from somewhere else. They weren't native Texans. They slivered. You done finally showed up. Yeah. Thank you. I will practice to Jam Young. Okay. I'll have to practice it. They have those websites where they say it out loud and you just practice along. I'll do better. But yeah, this was it's just bringing back memories. And so everything that I ate, you know, they were like, "That's nasty. You don't want to eat that. You don't know what that could be." I'll never just one girl tell me that could be dog. You don't know what them Asians be eating. And I was like, wow, wow. The ignorance was astounding. That's why I haven't been back. I left there, they get together the homecomings and all, so I'm not going back. I don't want to see them people. I'm not trying to go into that state. I just want to stay here. I'm a native Californian. That's where my black ass needs to stay. Because anywhere else I go, I run into too much ignorance. I can't handle it. Okay, so we'll be back on Sunday. We got our Sunday show. This was a show that I was supposed to do last Sunday, but I got stuck doing so many other things. Girl, Jim Dog, we're going to do a whole show about the ignorance I experienced while I was in the state of Texas. It was unbelievable, and every single story is true. It all happened. It was that's just not the spot. I don't know how people can live there. That's all I can say. But you guys be good. Have fun over the weekend. Tonight, if you got some time tonight, and Saturday, and then I will see you Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. At 7 if you're on the East Coast. We'll get started a little early on the weekends. Okay. Bye bye. Ta ta.